listening to Uncommon Thinking, a podcast from Advertising Week. Uncommon Thinking features thought-provoking ideas directly from the stages of Advertising Week's global events. Hear from the brightest minds and thought leaders from every corner of the industry as they come together to help you navigate what's next. If you enjoy Uncommon Thinking, please consider subscribing on your podcast platform of choice, leaving a positive review, and sharing with friends and colleagues. Thanks for listening.
With the launch of their ad exchange, Spotify aims to be the best partner possible for brands and marketers. Users have shifted towards video content within the app, which offers new opportunities for advertisers. In this episode of Uncommon Thinking, recorded at Advertising Week Europe 2025 and presented by PrimeAudience, we'll explore how Spotify advertising is evolving to offer more automated opportunities that will improve audience engagement.
My name's Jack Benjamin. I'm a senior reporter for The Media Leader. It's a pleasure to be here with an esteemed panel. We've got Anne Boutier, the global head of automation sales at Spotify. Applause is definitely appreciated. Naomi Walkland, CMO at Motorway. And Andreas Lux-Vellenhoff, head of programmatic supply EMEA at Google. And in fact, Andreas, I wanted to start with you because we're about to discuss what has become a rapidly evolving media landscape because of all things automation, and you've been working in the business for 15 years, and I sort of wanted to get from you the picture from 1,000 feet. From your view, what are the key trends in automation that are currently shaping today's media landscape?
Yeah, so let's first look at the consumer and what they're doing, right? Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So if you think about it, they search, they scroll, they stream, and they shop, right? So these are the wider themes in how their behaviors work. But what we see now is that, you might be getting out your phone and take a photo, and that's searching, or you might be sitting in front of your TV and scroll for the next content, right? So this has gotten a lot more complex, and it will continue to be so, right? I mean, the consumer behavior is always trending in different directions. So that's where automation comes in to make it possible, not just easier, but also even possible to follow these kind of trends and make sure that we continue to address the user with the right message at the right time. The second trend is more organizational for me. So what we see is that now buyers are increasingly set up in hubs across the region. So you could be buying your media from London or Milan or Dubai, across all of Europe, across all of EMEA, or across the whole world, right? And that's always been true for more performance-based buys, but now it's also working for awareness buys. And that's a big shift enabled by automation technology, such as demand-side platforms.
And sorry.
And go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask how brands are leveraging some of these changes.
What we see is that they leverage these kind of changes by, one, adapting their internal processes, right? So you might want to bring your teams closer together, for example, in a hub, and then be sure that you have the right technology and the technology in-house integrated so you can use data from different pockets to address the user in these different situations or behaviors, yeah.
And I wanted to bring you in because you've been at Spotify for 7 years and were recently appointed to a new role with a fancy title, Global Head of Automation Sales. I'm curious first, what are your priorities in the new role?
Sure. So I guess my very first priority is to be a great partner to brands and advertisers to tell their stories on Spotify, to agencies as well, major partners for us, giving them the right insights about our audience as well as the right access to our inventory. And then, of course, a partner to the DSPs and the wider ecosystem within the programmatic space to ensure that we're all kind of innovating and making progress together. So I think the partnership element is priority number one for me. And then I guess selfishly from a Spotify standpoint, I'm very keen on telling our story to kind of marketers and agencies and DSPs out there. We've made major investments in our advertising stack and in the programmatic space specifically. And that's why I'm so excited to be here today, because I know we're going to get into that.
We will. But first, I wanted to ask you, what changes have you observed in consumer behavior while at Spotify?
Sure. So I guess I'm going to start by what hasn't changed. And I guess the first thing is the growth that we've seen in terms of Spotify audience and usage at the global level, right? We have 675 million monthly active users now on the platform. That's growing at about 12% clip year over year. And about 60% of them are on the ad-supported tier, meaning that they can be reached by advertisers across the globe. The other thing that hasn't changed is the level of engagement we're seeing on the platform. The average Spotify users spend about 2 hours a day across all sorts of devices, mobile, desktop, CTV, in-car. And that's major engagement we're getting from those 675 million users. So those two things are very much kind of here to stay and keep evolving. I would say what has changed has been the content that's being consumed on the platform. Video, as a start, has grown massively over the past couple of years. We're seeing the time spent in focus, meaning like looking at the screen and playing around within the Spotify environment, up by nearly 40% in the UK markets just this year. And we're seeing similar trends across pretty much all markets globally. So video is definitely one element that has changed. Users are consuming video clips, video podcasts as well on the platform. And then the second thing that has changed is obviously podcast. It's been a massive bet for Spotify over the past 3 to 4 years. And we now have about 150 million users globally engaging with podcasts on the platform. So that's very much what has changed. And that comes with opportunities for brands and for marketers to kind of tell their stories in a different way with podcasts, with video, with audio on the platform.
Naomi, you're the representing the brand on the stage here. You've been CMO at Motorway for a year now. And in prior interviews, you mentioned that what drew you to the company was its vision that the industry needs to accelerate its technological innovation. And so I'm curious how you're seeing the current market, especially as with regard to automation, in terms of creating a future-facing version of Motorway.
Yes. Automation is really key for us. So Motorway is a car marketplace, and at the heart of it is technology. And so what we're looking is connecting those who are selling their cars directly to dealers who are buying their cars, so fueling their forecourt. And selling your car is a pretty onerous process. People don't really enjoy it. It's stressful, it's difficult. But what we do at Motorway is about making it seamless, effortless, and for some many, enjoyable as well. And at the heart of that is automation. So we leverage our technology to make sure we're delivering a really seamless experience. But as an industry, it's a very low frequency industry. So that means that people are not considering selling their car every day, every week, or even every month. It's typically every 4 to 6 years. So that means that we need to be front and center of mind. We need to make sure that we are really building familiarity before intent. So by the time it gets them selling their car, we're front and center of mind. And so automation and programmatics played a really key role for us in that, and making sure we can deliver those messages, both at scale and at speed, to make sure that we're really front and center and top of mind for us as well. And at a channel level, like Andreas was saying, it's so multi-channel. And so for us, programmatic is not just around consideration and lower funnel. We're actually using it through the funnel, from awareness all the way down to lead generation as well. So it's a continuous part of our marketing strategy and approach at Motorway.
And Spotify had a big Spotify event. It was in the Big Apple yesterday. I wasn't there. I imagine you weren't there either.
I have a massive FOMO about not being there.
So at the event, Spotify unveiled the next stage of its Spotify advertising innovations there. Can you take us through what the announcements covered?
Sure. Happy to do so. So we hosted a major event yesterday in New York called Spotify Advanced, where we unveiled a lot of investment that we've made within our ad stack to come to brands and advertisers with new ways to create on Spotify, new ways to buy on Spotify, and new ways to measure on Spotify. And as part of those announcements, we're essentially taking really big swings into the programmatic space specifically. And I'm very excited to share today that we have officially launched the Spotify Ad Exchange yesterday in New York, which is amazing. So we're essentially offering unparalleled direct access to brands and buyers to Spotify inventory via their preferred DSPs, such as DV360. And I'm very happy to share the stage with today. And I guess there are really 3 things that we are aiming for as we're launching the Spotify Ad Exchange. The first one is to offer access to all our core formats in the easiest way possible to buyers. So that's audio, that's video that I've mentioned, display, and then podcast that's going to come within our exchange in the next few months. The second major change that we're making is that we're opening biddable access, meaning PMP and OMP to our inventory, coming from a very heavy, reserved, and guaranteed background. And the reason why we're doing that is that we know that the most advanced marketers, buyers, and agencies want more flexibility, more control, and more transparency in the way they're operating their programmatic buys. And then the third major kind of change that we're extremely excited about is addressability. As part of the exchange launch, we've adopted some of the leading identifier in the space. We've enabled Pair from DV360. We've enabled Ramp ID from LiveRamp because we want buyers to be able to target their audiences and then measure against their buys in the most efficient way. So it's really the ease of access, the addressability, and the biddable aspect that we're extremely excited about.
And can you describe the strategy that Spotify is taking when it comes out with all of these different announcements? What's the overarching goal that Spotify is looking to accomplish over the next couple of years?
I think it goes back to my very first point, which is to be the best partner possible to marketer and brands, as well as agencies. And we know that the market today is craving for easier access, transparency, control, and measurability. And we're kind of gearing towards all those goals with this investment that we've made.
So the Spotify Ad Exchange is integrated with DV360. Andreas, you've worked with a number of publishers. I'm curious how partnering with Spotify enhances Google DV360 itself.
Yeah, I think a number of publishers is right, because if you look at the European market here, every country has their own broadcasters, their own radio stations, their own newspapers, and so on. So if you want to do something across the region, you have to talk to a lot of partners. What's exciting about Spotify is that with them, you only have to talk to one partner to have campaigns that run in most of all European markets, and makes it a lot easier to run campaigns. Everything works, the technology is integrated. Everything works the same way in terms of audience, in terms of measurement across the whole region. And I think that's really exciting. And we have very few, if you think about your own user behavior as well, we have very few publishers who really span across the region. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, I think audio has been an underutilized category. It's such a rich moment. It's such a great way to connect with your customers. So I'm really excited to have some fantastic audio inventory addressable in all programmatic buying ways with all audience data and measurement.
Why do you think digital audio has been underutilized?
I think, well, I give you a technical answer because I'm the DSP guy. So if you think about it, to connect to programmatic inventory, you need to kind of bring different pipes together, right? And I think on CTV we've made great progress now. On display, everything has worked for a decade. But on audio, in a lot of cases, especially outside of Spotify, you don't necessarily have the publisher own the device where it's running on, for example, smart speakers. And that made it a little bit harder in the past. And now that Spotify is taking an approach to bring their own tech to this, this will make it even smoother. So I think it was just not as well connected yet. It wasn't as mature as the market.
And what do you think? Was it not a mature enough market?
I think there are two elements I would call out here. One is back to Andreas' point, which is the access. I think we're the first major global audio player that's making that move towards having their own exchange and opening that easier access to buyers. So I would say that access is definitely one point, and it wasn't there before. Now it's here. And I think the second point I would call out is creative. And I'm probably keen on hearing your thoughts on that, Naomi, as well. But we know that audio, when it comes to like the creative set for brands, is usually not there by default. And that's a big education that we're making in market on how to help brands getting their sonic identity right and getting kind of an audio creative ready. And we're helping them as well producing audio creative. So I think access and creative are the two reasons why I would call that out.
Naomi, can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, definitely. I think creative and audio has been something that's been a challenge for lots of brands as well, but also being able to do it at rapid speed as well. So I think leveraging platforms like Spotify and working really closely, which I have done for many years, it's really helped us in innovating and using audio as a real advancement for us as well. But digital audio has been a core channel for me, both in my role at Motorway, but previously at companies. So we've started to learn and iterate, and we've been really thankful for the partners at Spotify for helping us on that journey too.
I know that easy and seamless is part of Motorway's brand messaging. Frankly, I think I hear it from a lot of brands as well, but everyone wants to be easy and seamless. So what do you see with the ad exchange, especially the newer announcements, as creating value for your brand?
Yeah, it's really exciting. And digital audio in particular is a big core channel for us as well. And when you think around the industry that we're in, particularly people being in their cars, it's a good way to reach people to drive that connection with selling your car at that moment as well. So Spotify's been really key for us, and programmatic is a key part of our media strategy as well. But what's really exciting for us is around that ability to drive even more impact. And so I think for us, Spotify is moving more to being a full funnel channel strategy that we're leveraging as well. So a lot of our work's been on that awareness consideration level, but this is allowing us to go even deeper. So it's the fact that we've got that real-time bidding as well, the fact that it's integrated into our workflows of DSP and Google that we're using, leveraging as well at a rapid pace. But also what's really exciting for us is that ability to continue to drive ROI and impact. And so great creative only works if you can reach your right customers, which we can definitely do on platforms like Spotify. But if you can show and measure that impact as well. And so that's what I'm really excited about, like leveraging that, but also looking at ways for us to test and learn and get optimization. And so Saks is going to really open that up for us. So for a brand, we're really excited about this.
You mentioned measurement. I mean, that tends to be the hot topic at all of our events, at events like this. And what is Spotify doing to innovate its measurement offering?
Yeah, I mean, I think Naomi said a lot of right points here. I think with Spotify Ad Exchange, there are a couple of things that come to mind around measurement. The first one goes back to the biddable access and the fact that our inventory is now available on open marketplace and PMP. That means more real-time measurement on the DSP side, more transparency and more opportunities for optimization on the buy side. So I would definitely call out the biddable access as point number one here. The addressability as well is major. Yes, addressability is a way for marketers and buyers to find their audience on our inventory, but it's also a way to enable much better measurement and almost like closing the loop on the impact of their buys on Spotify. And to Naomi's points, I think both like biddability and addressability open up kind of full funnel opportunities for marketers on Spotify. We've historically been very strong on the kind of branding side of things. We now have opportunities to go like a little bit more, mid funnel and kind of lower funnel as well. And the last point I would make around measurement is that we're also looking into kind of meaningful metrics for marketers, such as attention, which is a major topic for us right now. We just released a thought leadership piece actually last week that's called the Wild Wild West of Attention, which is amazing. So I encourage the room to read it through. But we've done this whole study with our internal research team as well as Adelaide as a partner to understand how Spotify moves the needle on metrics such as attention, because we know it's a big part of kind of the way marketers think about measurement today.
Is that true? Do you care about attention, Naomi?
Yes, absolutely. It's so key. It's first and foremost, but I think it's such a good proxy for us to understand, is this landing? Is our proposition landing? And also, are we keeping our customers engaged? So it's a key thing for us. I'm really excited by that.
I'm curious, looking ahead, I mean, we talked about automation all throughout this period, but where are we going? Andreas, what do you think are innovations that need to come for marketers to deliver more effective campaigns in the future when it comes to automating things?
So one will be for marketers to have an organizational setup change, right? So you have to bring your teams closer together, have to bring the different data pools you have in the organization closer together, have to bring your tech closer together. That's up to the marketers. On our side, it will be a lot of these things in automation will be driven by AI, right? Already now you can see that you need all these different identifiers in different devices and so on. Some of them will be missing. Some of them will be harder to get. So to make sense of all this and this consumer behavior across it in a privacy safe way, the best way to do this is to use AI, because AI is really good at predicting, extrapolating, and making sense of huge data sets. And that's where we are going to continue to invest. And you'll see, you already see AI, for example, in unique reach and frequency management, understanding which devices have been hit. And you also see it more and more in your user interface to make sure that your setup is optimal.
What about AI for creative purposes? And that was part of the announcement yesterday as well.
That's a big one for us. I think it goes back to my point about audio creative being a challenge for audio adoption today. And we definitely look at AI audio creative production as a solve for its for kind of marketers and brands. So definitely a big area for Spotify, and there is more to come in that space for sure.
And Naomi, what's most important to you when it comes to future thinking innovation? What would you like to see?
Yeah, I think from an AI board perspective, we're utilizing it a lot at Motorway as well, both from our product innovation to developing and launching industry first product features around AI and how we can seamlessly integrate our process of selling and buying cars. But one thing that I'm excited by is just this hyper personalization, the fact that we can really deliver those timely and relevant messages to our customers. So we're doing a lot of work on that. But I think AI sometimes feels so daunting for marketers, and it's really hard to think, okay, what can I actually do to start? And so one thing that we're doing to encourage this innovation and this thinking and future forward is just developing AI squads within the team. And leaders, I really encourage you to celebrate your team's trialing and learning and building that experimentation culture within your teams as well. Just that does lead to kind of those future-proofed ideas as well.
What other types of recommendations might you give to any other CMOs in the room?
AI in general, just general.
AI in general.
AI in general. Utilize it a lot. I definitely do. Champion it, encourage it within your teams as well. I'm now even asking some of my teams when work's coming to me, have we tested that with AI? It's a good way to kind of go back and forth and making sure that we're really crafting something which is really landing well and effectively as well. But really just become an advocate for it. So the fact that we've got an AI squad within our team, it means that they're constantly looking at new ways to leverage it. What tooling are you using? How are you using it? But also having 101 lessons, because it does sound really daunting. And I was recently at a conversation which was talking around that a lot of women in particular don't utilize it because they feel like it's cheating. And it's really not cheating. It's really around empowering you to do great work and also helping that future-proofing of your business and the marketing organization as well. So be a champion. Don't be fearful of it.
Andreas, what about you?
So I'd say plus one makes perfect sense to me. I would say have fun with it and try things, right? And then have teams get together and talk what worked for them, because it's a new field. It's lots of cool things you can do. But I learned the most when I have a colleague talking about I tried this, and I was like, I'm going to try this. And I'm also always happy to share what I've tried. Also where I failed, right? And not everything is always working yet. But I think have fun with it and share.
And I'll give you the last word on this topic.
I think the thing I'm the most excited with when it comes to AI is the fact that it can get applied at every single stage of the kind of media buying process. And we've touched on creative. It works for like media planning. It works for optimization. It kind of support the full process. And I'm excited to see what other usage will be developed in the next few months, probably, or weeks.
Yeah, likewise. We've just got a couple more minutes. And because we have Spotify in the room, I have to ask, what each of your current obsessions are in terms of the media that everyone consumes, produces, that places ads against. So it could be a hit song, podcast, audiobook, show. I'm curious what each of you are hooked on. Andreas, I'll start with you.
So I'm a German who likes country music. Oh. It's not easy because it's not on the radio, it's not on TV or anything. So on Spotify, I have an Americana mix and it's AI generated, so I get new music. So my wife doesn't hate me because I hear the same songs all the time. So thank you.
You're welcome, Andres.
Naomi.
The weather's great. Spring's here. My current playlist that I'm listening to is like chilled dance hits, which Spotify's created for me because it knows me well. But another podcast which I'm really loving is called The CEO's Guide for Marketing on CMOs. So it's a really great podcast led by one of the editors at Forbes, which is really just exploring all the challenges and opportunities that CMOs face. So I've enjoyed it, but also found it quite comforting that I'm not the only one managing these challenges as well.
And do you listen to it or do you watch a video?
I go between both. And so I've really enjoyed that. And also, it's not a plug to Spotify, but just the fact that you can integrate between watching and listening is really helpful. So if I'm cooking, sometimes I'll watch it. And then if I'm driving, I'll listen to it.
We've got our own podcast, which is not on video, and we need to work on
I
it.
would recommend that, yes.
I mean, I need to get my face in front of other people, not just my voice. And what about you?
Well, I'm a French who likes Latin trap, so I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with Bad Bunny at the moment. So very like. But then when it comes to podcasts, I think with everything that's going on right now in the news, I always come back to The Daily from the New York Times, which to me is a great news podcast. So yeah, Bad Bunny and The Daily.
Really, it's a great combo. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Can we have a round of applause for our friend?
Thank you for listening to Uncommon Thinking. For more podcasts like this one, including AW360, Advertising Week's longest-running podcast series, now in its 11th year, head over to www.advertisingweek.com/podcasts or search Advertising Week on your podcast platform of choice. Thanks for listening.